The morning of the 29th of June, 2016, Chester, England. A small wood-paneled meeting room on the third floor of the executive wing of Chester County Hospital. 7 senior consultant pediatricians from the hospital's neonatal intensive care unit arrived together for an emergency meeting they have requested with the hospital's executive board. They have brought with them a single printed spreadsheet. The spreadsheet records every premature baby who has died on the unit in the previous 13 months. There are 7 deaths on the list. Each one is annotated with the names of every staff member on duty at the time of the death. There is only one name that appears on every single row of the spreadsheet. The name is Laura Lambert. She is a 26-year-old registered NHS neonatal nurse. She has worked on the unit for 4 years. She is widely considered one of the most reliable junior nurses on the ward. The 7 consultants explained the spreadsheet to the executive board for 90 minutes. They asked formally and politely for Laura Lambert to be removed from the neonatal unit until a police investigation can be conducted. The executive board listens. The executive board consults its public relations team. The executive board consults its legal team. The executive board invites Laura Lambert's trade union representative into the room. The executive board then informs the 7 consultants that they are bullying Laura Lambert. The executive board orders the 7 consultants to write a formal signed letter of apology to Laura Lambert and to her union. The executive board threatens the 7 consultants with formal disciplinary proceedings if they refuse. 6 of the 7 consultants comply. They write the apology letter. Laura Lambert returns to her ordinary shift rotation on the neonatal intensive care unit of Chester County Hospital the following Monday. Over the next 8 months, 3 more babies on her shifts will die under exactly the same circumstances as the previous 7. How does a single 26-year-old NHS nurse murder 7 newborn infants inside the neonatal intensive care unit of a small English hospital over 13 consecutive months while 7 senior pediatricians watch it happen? And how does the hospital that employs them all order the pediatricians to apologize to her in writing? Laura Susan Lambert is born on the 4th of January, 1990, in the small English cathedral city of Hereford. She is the only child of a wealthy chartered accountant father and a homemaker mother. She is, by every account of every person who knew her in childhood, a quiet, polite, exceptionally well-organized English girl who decides at the age of 12 that she wants to be a nurse. She qualifies in 2011 at the age of 21 with a first-class honors degree in adult nursing from the University of Chester. She specializes immediately in neonatal intensive care nursing, the care of premature and critically ill newborn infants. In January 2012, she is hired as a Band 5 registered neonatal nurse at Chester County Hospital in Chester, Cheshire. She is 22 years old. She is, for her first 3 years on the unit, an exemplary employee. Her annual performance reviews are uniformly excellent. She volunteers for extra shifts. She volunteers for the most critically ill infants. She works double shifts when other nurses call in sick. She attends every voluntary training course the hospital offers her. She is regarded by her senior consultants as one of the most reliable junior nurses on the ward. She lives alone in a small 1-bedroom rented flat in central Chester. She drives a small dark blue 2011 Renault Clio. She owns a small gray domestic short hair cat named Smudge. She is not in a relationship. She has very few close friends at the hospital. Her parents visit her every other weekend. She is, in the autumn of 2014, promoted from Band 5 to Band 6 senior neonatal nurse. In November 2014, she completes the additional 6-month qualifying course required by the NHS to operate independently with intensive care premature infants under 1 kilogram in weight. She passes the course with the highest examination mark of any candidate in her year nationally. She is 24 years old. In June 2015, the death rate of premature infants on the Chester County Hospital neonatal intensive care unit begins to triple. Between the 8th of June 2015 and the 24th of June 2016, 7 premature infants in the Chester County Hospital Neonatal Intensive Care Unit die unexpectedly. A further 7 infants collapse in identical circumstances but are resuscitated. In the formal court reporting that will later follow, the 7 dead infants are referred to only as Child A, Child C, Child D, Child E, Child I, Child O, and Child P. The 7 who survive are referred to as Child B, Child F, Child G, Child H, Child J, Child K, and Child Q. None of the families are ever publicly identified. Child A is a baby boy. He is born prematurely at 31 weeks. He is stable for 36 hours after his birth. At 20 past 8 on the evening of the 8th of June 2015, while Laura Lambert waits on shift and alone at his incubator, he suffers a sudden unexplained cardiac arrest. His skin shows an unusual blotchy pink and purple discoloration across his torso and limbs. He is pronounced dead at 8:30. The senior consultant on duty that night is a pediatrician named Dr. Stephen Bramley. He has been a senior consultant in neonatal intensive care for 14 years. He has never seen a sudden cardiac arrest in a stable 36-hour-old premature infant present in this specific way. The next morning, Child A's twin sister, Child B, suffers an identical sudden collapse with the same skin discoloration at the same incubator, while Laura Lambert is again alone on the night shift. She is successfully resuscitated. She will survive with no long-term harm. Bramley begins that same week to keep a private handwritten notebook recording the names of every nurse on duty for every neonatal unit cardiac arrest from that day forward. Over the next 10 months, 6 more infants die under identical circumstances. In every single one of those 6 deaths, Laura Lambert is on shift. In every single one of those 6 deaths, Laura Lambert is the most recently recorded nurse at the affected incubator. In 2 of the deaths, postmortem blood work shows lethal levels of insulin in infants who were never prescribed any insulin. In 1 death, postmortem tissue work shows the signs of injected air bubbles in the bloodstream, a deliberate air embolism. In a further 3 deaths, postmortem stomach examination shows the infant was fed 3 times the volume of milk through the nasogastric tube in the hour before death than the nurse on duty has recorded in the official ward notes. The methods are not consistent. The single consistent factor is Laura Lambert. By February 2016, Dr. Bramley has a colleague, a second senior pediatric consultant named Dr. Ravi Jhansi, who has independently begun keeping the same private notebook. They compare notes. The notebooks match. Together, they prepare the printed spreadsheet that they will present to the hospital executive board 4 months later, on the 29th of June, 2016. The executive board of Chester County Hospital in June 2016 consists of 7 individuals. The meeting on the 29th of June 2016 begins at 10 o'clock in the morning and runs without a break until 1:30 in the afternoon. The 7 consultants present the spreadsheet. They present the postmortem blood work showing insulin in 2 of the dead infants. They present the postmortem tissue work showing the deliberate air embolism. They ask, formally and politely, that the police be called. The chief executive, Anthony Chalmers, declines. The chief executive's reasoning is as follows. Laura Lambert has not been formally accused of anything by the police. To remove her from the ward on the basis of an internal medical spreadsheet would expose the hospital to a wrongful dismissal claim from her trade union. It would also expose the hospital to a defamation claim from Laura Lambert herself. The hospital's professional liability insurer has advised the chief executive that the safer course is to take no action. The chief executive then asked the 7 consultants whether any of them has actually witnessed Laura Lambert injecting a baby with anything. None of them has. The chief executive concludes that what the 7 consultants have brought him is a statistical correlation, not evidence. He further concludes that the consultants have, by talking about a single-name junior nurse in their senior consultants' meetings for several months, conducted a campaign of bullying against her. The chief executive informs the 7 consultants that they are to write, individually and in their own hand, a signed letter of apology to Laura Lambert. The chief executive informs the 7 consultants that this letter is to be presented to Laura Lambert, with her trade union representative present. The chief executive informs the 7 consultants that any refusal to write the letter will result in their own formal referral to the General Medical Council on grounds of professional misconduct. 6 of the 7 consultants comply. Dr. Stephen Bramley alone refuses. He is, the same week, threatened with formal disciplinary proceedings and is instructed by the medical director, Ian Harlow, to take 6 weeks of immediate paid annual leave. Laura Lambert returns to her regular shift rotation on the neonatal intensive care unit on the morning of the 4th of July, 2016. She is 26 years old. She kills 3 more babies over the next 8 months. In August 2016, a premature baby identified at trial as Child O suddenly collapses at his incubator while Laura Lambert is alone on the night shift. He is successfully resuscitated. His blood sugar level 20 minutes after the collapse shows lethal levels of injected insulin. In October 2016, a baby identified at trial as Child P suffers a sudden unexplained cardiac arrest at her incubator while Laura Lambert is alone on the night shift. She does not survive. The post-mortem shows clear evidence of injected air embolism. In January 2017, a baby identified as Child Q collapses at his incubator. He survives. The 7 consultants have, by this point, opened a second hidden spreadsheet. They have continued to record every death and every collapse and the name of every nurse present. They are now, by the explicit instruction of the hospital chief executive, Anthony Chalmers, legally barred from discussing the matter with anyone outside their own consultant team. In February 2017, 3 of the 7 consultants, including Dr. Bramley and Dr. Chauncey, go around the hospital executive board entirely. They make a direct private telephone call to the chief executive of the Royal College of Pediatrics and Child Health in London. They explain the situation in full. The Royal College of Pediatrics initiates a confidential external review of the Chester County Hospital neonatal unit within 48 hours. The review concludes within 3 weeks that the pattern of deaths is clinically inconsistent with natural causes and that the matter must be referred to a police investigation immediately. The chief executive of the Royal College of Pediatrics personally telephones the chief constable of Cheshire Constabulary on the morning of the 2nd of May 2017. Cheshire Constabulary opens Operation Hummingbird the same afternoon. The lead investigating officer is appointed, Detective Chief Inspector Paul Hartley. Laura Lambert is quietly removed from the neonatal intensive care unit on the 3rd of May 2016 with no public announcement. She is reassigned to a hospital administrative position in the records department. She continues to draw her full salary. The police investigation runs in absolute secrecy for the next 14 months. Cheshire Constabulary reviews every single one of the 17 deaths and collapses on the neonatal unit going back to 2012. They consult an independent panel of 7 retired pediatric consultants assembled from across the United Kingdom. The independent panel reaches the same conclusion as the Royal College of Pediatrics. Laura Lambert is arrested at her small 1-bedroom flat in central Chester at 5:45 in the morning on the 3rd of July 2018. She is questioned for 36 hours over the next 3 days. She denies any involvement in any of the deaths. She is released on police bail. She is arrested a second time in June 2019, released on bail again, arrested a third time in November 2020. This time she is formally charged with the murder of 7 babies and the attempted murder of 15 others. She is 40 days short of her 31st birthday. The trial of Laura Susan Lambert opens at the Manchester Crown Court on the 10th of October 2022. It will run, with brief adjournments, for 10 months, one of the longest single-defendant criminal trials in modern English legal history. The presiding judge is Mr. Justice Garrett. The Crown is led by Nicholas Jameson, KC. The defense is led by Benjamin Marsden, KC. The prosecution's evidence is built around three central exhibits. The first is the shift roster spreadsheet originally compiled by Dr. Bramley and Dr. Chansey. It shows across 13 separate suspicious events spanning 13 months the presence of Laura Lambert at every single one. The second is the contaminated insulin IV bag recovered by Cheshire Constabulary from the secure neonatal unit medication store in 2018. Forensic analysis confirmed it had been deliberately spiked. Hospital pharmacy records confirmed only Laura Lambert had signed for the bag the night before its discovery. The third is a series of handwritten post-it notes recovered from Laura Lambert's home during the police search of her Chester flat in July 2018. The notes are written in Laura Lambert's own handwriting and include the lines, "I am evil. I did this and I killed them on purpose, and I am a horrible, evil person." The defense presents Laura Lambert as the victim of a hospital scapegoating exercise, a junior nurse blamed for the consequences of years of NHS underfunding, inadequate staffing levels, and the predictable collapse of fragile premature infants on a chronically overstretched ward. The defense calls Laura Lambert to testify in her own defense. She testifies for 14 consecutive court days. She denies every single charge. She weeps at the end of every session. The jury retires to consider its verdicts on the 8th of August, 2023. It returns its verdicts in stages over the following 10 days. On the 18th of August, 2023, Laura Susan Lambert is convicted of the murder of 7 newborn babies and the attempted murder of 7 others. The trial judge, Mr. Justice Garrett, sentences her to a whole life order. She becomes only the 4th woman in modern English legal history to receive a whole life order without the possibility of parole. She is 33 years old. She is transferred the following week to HMP Bronzefield, a women's prison in Surrey. Within 3 weeks of the verdict, the chief executive of Chester County Hospital, Anthony Chalmers, resigns. The director of nursing, Allison Kearns, resigns. The director of human resources, Sue Hodgson, resigns. The medical director, Ian Harlow, resigns. The non-executive chair of the board does not. In September 2023, the British Secretary of State for Health commissions a statutory public inquiry into the Chester County Hospital governance failure. It is named the Thirlwall Inquiry after its chair, the senior judge, Lady Justice Thirlwall. The inquiry opens in 2024 and is, as of today, still in progress. The Chester County Hospital Executive Board has, to this day, never publicly apologized to the 7 consultants whom they ordered to apologize to Laura Lambert in writing in June 2016. The Royal College of Pediatrics has, since 2023, published a single principal recommendation. It is that no English NHS Hospital Executive Board should ever again be permitted, under any circumstances and through any channel, to overrule a written safety concern raised by the senior clinical consultants of one of its own intensive care units.